You're listening to The Rich Life Revolution with me, Michelle Cooper. My mission is to empower you to step into your next level of wealthy. You'll hear all the deets, a little bit of inspiration, and real life takeaways so that you can create your own rich life revolution. Let's dig in. Hey girl, hey, welcome to the Rich Life Revolution. I'm your host, Michelle, and on today's episode, we're diving in, we're digging in to habits. Now, maybe you've read the book Tiny Habits or Atomic Habits or some of the other books on habits. And so this podcast episode is really about my experience of habits, what I've come to know from reading both those books, as well as a few other books and working with a few coaches on developing my habits. So let's dive in. First of all, I'd like to ask you if you ever stop to think about the small things that you do every day, the habits and routines that shape your life, whether you realize it or not. So these are really important pieces for us to examine because habits and routines do shape our lives. Even if we don't want to admit that or acknowledge that, we all have a secret world that we live in, a world of unnoticed routine, small actions, and habits that profoundly shape our lives. But how often do we really stop to think about these habits, to really examine them and understand how they're affecting us and our lived experience? How often do we step back and look at our lives as they truly are? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just from a place of neutrality, and also not as we imagine them to be or hope them to be. I'm sure you're like me. You've had moments where you are yearning for something better, or maybe you feel stuck in a kind of like a whirlwind of routines and habits that seem to lead nowhere, go down that road of never-ending to-do lists and tasks that you just don't know how this is going to take you to the place that you want to be, the life that you want to live. So I get it, right? I've been there, and that's exactly the feeling that led me to really dive into this idea and concept of habits and work with some coaches on developing my habits and examining my habits. I've got lots of books, like self-help books on my bookshelf, right? And most of them promise to be a key to transformation. I've tried them. I've tried lots of things. I've worked with lots of people, but all too often I've been left standing in the same spot, maybe with temporary motivation, and maybe with short-lived changes and short-term results. It kind of can feel like trying to assemble a puzzle without seeing the whole picture. So what's the missing piece here? It's personalizing your habits. It's understanding you and creating your personalized habits and rituals. Because you know what? We're all unique. We all have our own set of habits and our own set of routines. And for sure, a one-size-fits-all solution does not work. I know that. I know what I know. And it is that. So let's talk about this, right? Because I didn't want to just create a podcast episode where I'm giving you just kind of like generic advice. I'm like gushing something I've heard or read or whatever. I wanted to provide you with some real lived experience advice and guidance and kind of walk alongside you as you examine this. So I feel like this is going to be a series of episodes. There'll be the next, few solo episodes because I'm not going to be able to put all of this into one. And it's a lot to consume at once. So I want you to be able to chart your own course and for you to create an understanding of your uniqueness and how you can create some lasting change in your life, some real results long-term results instead of that temporary fix. So we're going to talk about a mix of theory, practical advice, and perhaps some hands-on exercises that are all designed to help you build your own habit system. And this is purely my own work that I've done myself. So pick up what feels right for you, put down what does not feel right, and just lean in, right? A key piece I want you to remember here is that change doesn't come from grand gestures or like drastic transformations. It comes from small, consistent actions. And that's the whole concept of tiny habits or atomic habits. Think of it like steering a ship. A tiny change in direction can lead to a completely different destination over time. This might not be easy for everyone, and there's probably going to be bumps and twists along the way, and there's going to be times when you feel like retreating, not doing this, I'm bored, I don't like it, I don't want to do it, and that's okay. Remember, this is about progress, not perfection. It's about moving forward, even if it's just by a tiny centimeter or an inch. So let's start diving in and let's get into the nitty-gritty of this, because this is this beginning, right? The habit theory and the mechanics of change. I read a quote recently that said, success is not a result of spontaneous combustion. You must set yourself on fire with smart goals and disciplined habits. I'll be really honest, throw my hands up here. This is not my way, my go-to way. This is not my default. And this is something that I have struggled with. I don't like smart goals. I don't like discipline. I don't like habits. So I have struggled with this, but I have found a way to make it work for me. And that's why I want to share it with you. So let's talk about this concept of autopilot, right? Have you ever wondered why we often find ourselves on autopilot, engaging in the same behaviors day after day, whether it's reaching for that cup of coffee first thing in the morning or mindlessly scrolling through social media during breaks? These are habits and they play a significant role in our lives. So take a moment and imagine this. You're driving home from work, you're lost in thought, and then suddenly you find yourself pulling into the driveway without remembering how you got there. That happens to me. I'm sure it happens to you. I feel like it happens to everybody. How did you navigate those streets without that conscious effort? That's the power of habit at work. So, do you have habits that you wish to change or new ones that you like to cultivate? Perhaps you desire a healthier lifestyle, an improved productivity, a more positive mindset. Whatever your aspirations may be, understanding the science behind habits is the key to unlocking lasting transformation. So today we're going to dive into the captivating realm of habit theory. Now you might be like, I'm going to turn this off. I'm super bored. And that's okay. Hang in here with me. Like, stay with me. We're also going to explore the mechanisms that drive our behavior. In coming episodes, we'll explore practical strategies that are backed by scientific research to help you break free from unwanted patterns and cultivate new habits that align with your goals. So let's get ready, because we're about to embark on an eye-opening journey that will empower you to take control of your habits and create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Like, who doesn't want that? That's like everybody's goal, right? Well, it's everybody in my world's goal. Let's talk about the science of habits, right? What's the foundation? For sure, habits are undeniably important in our daily lives. Yet so many of us may not fully grasp their inner workings, how they come to be, and how we can transform them. Whether your goal is to kick a bad habit to the curb or to cultivate a beneficial new one, understanding the science behind habits is crucial for achieving success. Today, we're going to take a closer look at habits by defining them and exploring their various types. We'll discuss the roles they play in our everyday lives, and we'll delve into the science behind their formation, including the concept of neuroplasticity, which is one of my favorite things. By the end of today's episode, you'll have a more profound understanding of the science behind habits and the impact they have on your life. So remember, building good habits isn't solely about flexing your willpower or relying on unwavering discipline. Rather, it's about comprehending how habits function and using that knowledge to craft a personalized system tailored to your needs and goals. So what is a habit? To truly get a grip on the science behind habits, we first need to figure out what habits are and how they differentiate from plain old behaviors. Habits are like autopilot actions that happen subconsciously when we come across certain cues or triggers in our surroundings. We do these things regularly without even realizing it. So on the other hand, behaviors are actions we consciously decide to do. For instance, making up your mind to visit the dentist is a behavior, while brushing your teeth every morning is a habit. Habits, like the backstage crew of our daily lives, have a say in pretty much every part of our behavior and decision-making. From the moment our eyes open in the morning until we hit the bed at night, habits help us navigate the routine tasks that fill our day. These automatic behaviors can be anything from brushing our teeth first thing in the morning to scrolling through our phones at bedtime. While habits can work wonders in our lives by boosting productivity and boosting our health, they can also lead to not so great consequences like smoking or overeating. Some habits are total winners, while others might not be the best for our overall well-being. Recognizing and understanding how habits shape our lives is important for personal growth. But habits aren't just limited to physical actions or behaviors. They can also be mental or emotional. Mental habits are thought patterns that kick in automatically when we face specific situations or triggers. This is my thing. Like when I realized this, I was like, I actually have a mental habit. So for example, you might have a habit of negative self-talk when tackling a tough task or a habit of positive affirmations to pump yourself up before a presentation. For me, this looked like if I was texting with someone and then they went silent, they were ghosting me. What did I do to piss them off? How did I upset them? What's going on? And I would have all of this self-talk around this. So by digging deeper into our habits and recognizing that they can be both good or bad, we can figure out which ones are our best friends and which ones need to be kicked to the curb or have a makeover. Understanding their powerful impact on our lives gives us the power to take control of our habits and harness them to create positive change, paving the way for a happier, healthier life. So what's the science behind habits? Well, they aren't just about willpower and motivation. If you follow Mel Robbins, she is a master at explaining this. They involve a complex mix of psychological, neurological, and environmental factors. One vital aspect of habit formation is neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to change and adapt over time. Basal ganglia, which is a part of the brain that is responsible for habit formation, plays a key role in developing automatic behaviors like habits. So neuroplasticity, which is one of my favorite things ever that I learned, allows us to create new neural connections, like new neural pathways, as we repeatedly engage in specific behaviors. As we continue to perform these behaviors, their associated neural pathways become stronger and more automatic, making future repetitions easier. So this process explains why new habits or breaking bad ones can be challenging, since existing neural pathways in our brains are deeply ingrained. The way I explain this in a really layman's term, it's like a tractor that has created a path across a farmer's field. Now, if it's gone over the same path repeatedly, we know what that looks like in a field, right? Like the grass is worn down, it becomes a dirt path. That's your neural pathway for an existing habit. When you want to create a new habit, you require a new pathway. So that's like the farmer driving over a different part of the field, creating a new road, right? A new pathway. It takes a while for that pathway to be ingrained and to show up. And while he's taking that new route, the old one it just gradually, the grass grows back over, right? So I don't know if that helps you understand the concept of neuroplasticity, but that has helped several of my clients understand that. Neuroplasticity also offers hope for people who are looking to change their habits. By consistently engaging in new behaviors, we can create new neural pathways. And those pathways strengthen over time, eventually leading to the formation of new habits. So that's why focusing on small, consistent changes is crucial rather than attempting large, drastic alterations all at once. The loop, which is a cue, a routine, and a reward, that's the loop, right? A habit loop, is an essential component to habit formation. But it's the brain's ability to create and strengthen neural pathways that makes habits automatic. So, for example, checking social media first thing in the morning becomes automatic over time because the brain associates waking up with this behavior. Similarly, biting your nails turns into a habitual response to stress due to the neural pathway formed in the brain. By understanding the science behind habit formation, we can start to identify and change our habits to improve our lives. Consistently engaging in new behaviors and reinforcing them with positive outcomes creates new neural pathways, and that leads to the formation of new habits over time. So how does this impact you? Well, let's take a moment to reflect on the profound impact that habits have on our lives, right? They shape our behavior, our attitudes, and overall success, making them an essential piece of the personal growth puzzle that we live every day. Good habits have the power to propel us towards positive outcomes, while bad habits can hinder our progress and hold us back and can be self-sabotage. So our habits influence our actions that we take every day, often without us even realizing it. Developing good habits like exercising regularly or eating healthy sets us up for success by nudging us towards positive behaviors that align with our goals. On the other hand, falling into negative habits, such as procrastination or overeating, can lead us down a path that hinders our progress or our self-improvement. But it doesn't have to stop there. Habits also have a profound impact on our attitudes and our overall success. Positive habits foster an optimistic and growth-oriented mindset, fueling our confidence and paving the way for achievements. Conversely, negative habits can cultivate a negative and fixed mindset, sowing the seeds of self-doubt and holding us back from reaching our full potential. So these examples of how good habits can improve our lives are endless, right? Like there's so many I could give you, right? We can talk about physical benefits of regular exercise, to the benefits of mental stimulation gained from daily reading, or maybe the happiness derived from practicing gratitude. Our habits have the power to transform our well-being and our life satisfaction. Recognizing the profound influence of our habits is the first step towards creating lasting change. It's important to understand that even small, consistent changes can lead to significant improvement over time. By consistently developing positive habits and breaking free from negative ones, we can actively shape our behavior, our attitudes, and overall success, ultimately creating a better life for ourselves, right? That's ultimately what happens. So I'm going to leave this here for now. I think this is a lot for you guys to take in. It was a lot for me to understand. What I would ask you to consider is identifying for yourself, what are some of your good habits? What are some of your maybe not so good habits? In particular, do you have some mental habits, some maybe triggers that move you into negative self-talk? Because mental habits are a really, really key thing to consider and to work through, right? They often come before the actual physical habit, right? So if you have negative self-talk around, let's say, your body image, creating a habit of going to the gym is going to be even harder. So I'm going to invite you to consider especially your mental habits. And of course, I would love to hear how this information has impacted you and how this applies to your life and your business and your career and your relationships and all of it. Because there's gold in here. You just have to find it. So next week, we'll have another guest episode, but the following week, I'm going to dive into the habit loop. So we'll create a special series for this so that you can listen to these subsequently in the future. But as I'm recording these, they're going to be kind of offset with some guest episodes. So tune in to the next solo episode, which will be in 2 weeks, where we're going to explore the habit loop and automatic behaviors. Thanks for hanging out with me today. See you next week. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you got at least one gold nugget today. Be sure to grab your copy of the Rich Life Revolution workbook to help you set the foundation for your next level of wealthy. Get it now at richliferevolution.ca, and I'll see you later.